The views and opinions expressed by guests on the TWBC podcast are solely those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of, nor constitute an endorsement by the host, TWBC, or the advertisers.
National championships, Confederation championships, World championships, major professional events. For over 3 decades, he has been there for many of the sport's greatest moments. And now he brings you even closer to the movers and shakers in the world of high-echelon tournament water skiing. From the founder and creator of the Water Ski Broadcasting Company comes the TWBC Podcast. And now here's your host, Tony Lightfoot.
And yes, I am the aforementioned Tony Lightfoot. This is the TWBC podcast, and we're coming to you, being recorded at the Sunset Lakes facility, the host facility for the upcoming World Water Ski Championships. And right here on this edition of the podcast, have a real special guest, the defending World Women's Slalom Champion from 2019. It is Manon Costard. How are you doing?
Good, Tony. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Now, obviously, having the World Championship is a great thing to have. Coming into the event to defend it sets off a whole new kind of pressures going on. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. It's different. Obviously, it's the first time that it happens to me, so trying to handle it as well as I can, and we'll see if, whatever strategy or whatever mindset I'm on works. I'll try to do my best.
Okay, so kind of give us a little bit of a summation of how your season has gone up to this point. There have been some highs, there have been, some tournaments and some things leading up to tournaments that haven't been so great. So kind of give us your assessment of how the season's gone, starting off, I guess, with Swiss towards the beginning of the season.
Well, honestly, I didn't have the best start of the season. I struggled a little bit for a few different things. We don't need to get into all of them, but so it didn't really. It wasn't great. Let's be honest. It wasn't really good. I didn't have the results or at least the performances that I wanted to have. Didn't have much confidence on the water. Didn't have much consistency either. So it wasn't great. I tried really hard to turn it around, and I'm doing my best. I think it's a lot better now. The past few events I've been pretty close to doing some good things, and I have done some good things too, but it's always knocking on the door of where I actually want to be and not really getting there. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It hasn't been working that well, but yeah, I still had some good results and some good tournaments. I'm not saying that it was all negative. It was just a bit. It was not ideal, let's say. But I feel like I'm at a better spot now. Training is going a lot better. I've done a few things I'm pretty happy with during the last few tournaments. So, well, we just have to wait and see.
All right, excellent. So working hard to get back into the frame. There's always this analogy that I go to whenever an athlete tends to work or overwork to correct some problem. It's kind of like being in quicksand. You get in that situation, you work and you work and you work, and you get yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. Where I would say a more considered approach, a more intelligent approach, probably yields a better result. Do you find yourself in that kind of realm a little bit, to try and get yourself back up to form?
Well, I don't feel in deep sand now, but I do feel like I needed to take a step back to understand which were the variables that were hurting me and that were not, allowing me to ski properly, whether it was my technique, whether it was my body and my physical form or equipment or whatever it might be. And so I worked on all of the things that were important to me, and I pinpoint the ones that I thought would help and worked on them. So I took it a bit as a checklist, okay, let's start with working on getting back into better shape physically and making sure that you're ready exactly the same way before ski set or whatever. So yeah, I had a few things to work on. I worked on all of them, and I think it's going in the right direction.
Okay, so you come into this competition having been a part of history in the Malibu Open. Four female competitors in the final, all clearing 39.5 off 10.75 meters and all registering a score of 41 off. I mean, what's it like to be part of that?
I mean, it was really cool. It's awesome. Honestly, it's awesome to see the women's slalom skiing, the scores and the level going up, and just like the depth of the field now is just much higher than what it's ever been. So that's really exciting to be part of that pack that actually, the pack of four that actually were able to make such a final. So that was super exciting. Also, I'm not going to hide it, a little bit of frustration of being at the, ending up fourth of that pack, and it's, it kind of reminding me of 2016. I made, then again, it was the first time that there was a podium of three skiers that were into 10.25, and I was the last one of them, third, and then, again 5 years later, but just being fourth, and I mean, it's all great, it's all good, and I'm super happy with what I did and how I did it, and it means a lot to me to be part of that history, as you say. Just my competitive self is wanting to work a bit harder again and just get a little more every time. That's just being a skier. I think you always want a little more.
Oh, absolutely, and I saw glimpses of that in your tournament performances this season and also previous seasons as well. But one of the previous seasons that I first saw you come to the fore, that come to prominence, was the 2011 European Women's Slalom Championship, which you won, of course, in Skarnes in Norway, in probably the coldest conditions that you'll ever get to ski in. I mean, in the middle of the summer in Norway, you can expect the water to be a little bit chilly. But try and give us a sense of how you've gotten from there as the surprise package of being the women's slalom champion of Europe in 2011 to where you are now in the midst of possibly defending your slalom title that you won 2 years ago in Malaysia.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise. No one was expecting me to win that title back then. I was an overall skier for a long time, and I think little by little I started putting a bit more effort into slalom. I started liking it more and more, and I think it's also something that it's a rhythm you need to get. It's precision and technique and stuff like that. So it makes sense that for some people it comes a little later. And I started really having fun with that. I was surrounded by people who were very motivating to me and who were very knowledgeable and enjoyed slalom quite a lot. So I ended up, training a little bit more and more with slalom and going to those pro tournaments. And I think, at that time I was going to pro tournaments for jump and slalom. And that was something super motivating to me, just being able to be competing with those skiers that were, incredible skiers and with an incredible level. And I think that's where I started wanting to put more into slalom skiing. Jump didn't work that way because I was crashing a lot, and I was just like, okay, well, maybe it's not safe for me, and I don't really want to be hurt before I get to go in slalom. So I slowly put that on the side. But yeah, I think just the people that were around me and that helped me evolve as a slalom skier, and doing those pro tournaments, doing tournaments and competing against the best skiers that there were, just really pushed me to try and do better and better.
So what you're saying is kind of putting yourself out there, putting yourself to compete against the very best was the kind of thing that helped you improve more than anything else you could have done, training or technically, yes?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say that. There's so many things that, I'm working on. So yes, for sure, you need to put yourself out there and train, but compete against the best skiers that there is. There is also a ton of work on technique. So the coaches that I had really helped with that, and me trying to understand it a bit more, and me liking the technical side of slalom just pushed me to think about it a bit more and understand where I wanted to do and what I wanted to do and why. So that was really important. And also there is a whole, you need to work on your mind and you need to work on your body. And I had a few back injuries where I had to, get a bit stronger and, okay, well, you're going to have to change a bit your routine and get stronger, work better, have maybe better warm-ups or whatever. So I worked on all of these things. And also, same, it's skiing. There's so many, the ski that you're using, everything, so there was a lot of things that helped. And so, yeah, I'm not going to say that the only thing that pushed me to my level is competing against better skiers. There was a whole list of things that I did to try and get better.
And obviously changing from a ski you've been riding for a long time to the ski that you're riding on now, which is the Conley DV8, and I mean, how long has your association been with the Conley brand, because obviously it took you to the point where you won the World Championship, but obviously a lot of people took a lot of notice on that brand, considering that you won the World Slalom Championship and Joel Howley won his World Slalom Championship at the same event. So there must be something good going on with that brand if you're riding it to success.
Well, look, I mean, I there's no question. I moved there in 2018, and I won Masters maybe 2 or 3 weeks after moving with them, and since then I've really won Masters, Worlds, and Moomba on a Conley, and there is no question that it's a ski that I really like, that has been very successful to me. So really, really important to find a ski that you feel comfortable on, that you can be consistent on, and that you can learn on. And really, what I find is very key for me is to know my ski as well as possible. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the same for a lot of skiers. It's you learn so much. It's got to become like just a habit and almost part of you. You need to know exactly how it's going to react and when, and so it's a big deal to find a ski that works, and very happy to have one.
And the importance of that was actually illustrated at San Gervasio, because your ski didn't make it, at least for the first part of that tournament, and you had to borrow a ski to get through from the elimination round through to the bracketed finals. Kind of tell us a little bit about that whole situation, how stressful it was waiting for the ski to maybe arrive, or if it wouldn't arrive at all when you're riding something that you halfway knew was going to react well, but you weren't 100% in tune with that particular ski.
Yeah, it's super stressful. It's not fun to have to go through that. The one thing that helped me this year was that it happened to me before at the same tournament in, I think, 16. So I had done it before, and it had worked out pretty well. So I was just like, okay, just keep calm. You're going to have to use all of the sets and all of the seconds that you have on the water to try and understand what the ski is doing under you. And you're going to be able to, it's a ski that you've skied on, or it wasn't that specific ski, but it was a model that I knew, and so I was just like, okay, you've done it before, you can try it again, and let's be smart about it. Let's use every second that you have on the water to learn about it. Let's try and set it up the best way possible in between sets, and just make sure that you're improving how it feels, and keep calm. Really, there is not much you can do. You're just, okay, well, that's the only thing I have, so let's try and make it work.
Whose ski was that, by the way?
It was a ski that was for sale, actually.
Oh!
Yeah. So I don't know if he sold it, but super nice guy that had it, super lucky. He had just moved to a newer model and was trying to sell the ski, so I borrowed it for a few sets.
Okay, and it wouldn't surprise me if you put your own little signature to it as well, but after the tournament, did you?
I did, yeah, I did.
Again, that probably increased the ski's value tenfold, but anyways, we'll wrap up the podcast around about this time. Thank you very much indeed for being a participant. Always glad to talk with you. But any shout-outs that you want to give to friends and family, and to Maybe one coach in particular.
No, are you talking about Freddie?
Yeah, maybe you have
Shout
some
out to
other.
Freddie Winter. Yeah, no, just there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that help me. So a big shout out to all of them. They all recognize themselves, and a special one to my family that is away and that I can't wait to see again.
Okay, yeah. One other question I'm reminded of before we leave for this podcast. I mean, how has the COVID-19 situation directly affected you? I mean, you spend a lot of your time in the United States, but obviously friends and family can't come over because it's highly restricted. How has that gone for you?
Well, so I'm lucky. I think everyone has had a hard time. Obviously, it's been really rough for most people, but yeah, it was definitely hard to be away from them. Didn't see my sister for a year and a half. Didn't see my mom for a year. It was long. It was long and hard. And this summer I got to spend the whole summer with them, and it showed me. I knew how much I cared about that time, but it showed me even more how important it is to me. And yeah, you learn things through just missing people and having to be away. So I knew that they were, extremely important to me, and I know it even more now, and I value the time that I have with them even more than before.
All right, then. That was Manon Costard. My name is Tony Lightfoot. This is the latest edition of the TWBC podcast, and until next time, it is ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the TWBC podcast. Be sure to check out our website at waterskibroadcasting.com. Links to our presence on major social media platforms can be found there, as well as updates to our webcast and this podcast. Duplication or rebroadcasting of this broadcast without written consent of TWBC is prohibited. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform and be sure to join us next time for the next edition of the TWBC podcast.